Shock in the Philippines as an elderly Korean couple was found dead due to gunshot wounds. 6 Koreans have been killed in the island nation this year alone. The South Korean stock market is plunged as a result of the financial crisis in China and an impending interest rate hike in the United States. And the first underwater survey on the sunken Dong-hwal ferry has begun a year and 4 months after the tragedy, but the salvage operation will likely be fraught with challenges. Hello and welcome to News Today on KBS World. It's Thursday, August 20th. I'm Luke Clary. An elderly Korean couple was shot and killed in the Philippines, and this brings the total number of Koreans killed in the island nation this year to 6.
At around 7 a.m. Wednesday morning, a Korean couple, 64-year-old Mr. Na and his 60-year-old wife, was found shot to death in a home located on the outskirts of Manila. A neighbor called the police after finding them on the living room floor, shot in the neck and torso.
총 4방을 쐈다는 거지. 거실에서 목하고 어깨하고 이렇게 총 쏘니까 총 소리가 4방이 나니까 총 소리에 의해 갖고 사람들이.
The door to a safe was left open when the deceased couple was discovered, but no other signs of forced entry were found. Local police assume that the couple were victims of homicide and are investigating whether it was a simple robbery gone wrong or a revenge killing. The Nas has been living in the Philippines after they moved from Korea 7 years ago after their retirement. The Korean Foreign Affairs authorities have sent a consul to the crime scene immediately after receiving the news and are trying to find out from the local police what exactly had transpired. With the deaths of the Nas, the number of Korean nationals killed in the Philippines since last year has risen to 16.
The South Korean stock market is plunged as a result of the financial crisis in China. Concerns are rising over the possibility of an economic recession in China, while the rapid outflow of capital once concentrated in emerging markets like South Korea ahead of an interest rate hike in the U.S. are feared to have significant repercussions.
The Todat index plunged by more than 4%, barely hovering over the 670-point line. Institutional investors who had been propping up the market so far sold shares worth $135 million in just one day. That's the third largest amount thus far. Over just 3 days this week, the nation's stock market lost $13.3 billion in its total value. The Kospi index has also been pushed below the 1,940-point mark for the first time in 6 months. The money that so far has been concentrated in emerging markets has been rapidly exiting them on the pending interest rate hike in the U.S. and the possibility of China's economic growth rate falling below 7% for the first time in 25 years. As a result, Korea's economic growth outlook has already been slashed by 0.8 percentage points this year alone, recording the sharpest decline among Asia's major economies. The South Korean government is now facing 2 major challenges: reviving the economy and maximizing the nation's growth potential, while also preparing for uncertainties in the financial market such as capital outflow.
The first underwater survey for salvaging the sunken Dong-hwal ferry has begun a year and 4 months after the tragedy. But the salvaging operation will be fraught with challenges, according to a Chinese diver who has seen the wreckage and predicts many difficulties ahead.
An 11-ton barge and a super crane have been set up at the site of the Dong-hwal ferry sinking. The ship came from China to salvage the sunken ferry. Roughly 140 people, including 32 divers, were called to carry out underwater surveys. They'll be staying at this floating base for the duration of the inspection.
我们这几天正在进行各种设备的测试，包括潜水员 ROV 的测试。
A Chinese diver enters the water to check out the working environment for the first time.
这边的水下环境水流比较急，能见度也比较低。
With only an hour-long window available during the tidal period with weakened currents, the inspection did not last long.
现在我还没有到达那个沉船的位置。
The salvaging company said that although underwater working conditions are quite challenging, it plans to finish salvaging the ferry as planned by next July.
Police have apprehended a man who tried to board a plane with marijuana in his pocket. The man was caught during the airport security check. Here are the details.
A man at an airport security checkpoint argues with a security official. He suddenly takes a paper bundle from the pocket of his trousers and leaves hurriedly. The man was spotted running to a restroom. When he left it 30 seconds later, the paper bundle that he was carrying in his hand had disappeared. Police searched the restroom right away and found flakes of marijuana floating in a toilet.
간과하고 통과시켰으면 그냥 비행기 타고 갈 수도 있었던 거예요. 근데 보안검사관이 불룩하니까 그것도 좀 보세요 하고 열어서 보려고 했더니 뒤로 빠꾸 해가지고.
The 36-year-old apprehended suspect, surnamed Park, tested positive for marijuana in a urine test. Police also found that he had been charged with illicit drug use 8 times before. During police interrogation, Park said that the marijuana was left over from what he had smoked after collecting it from a mountain in his neighborhood.
A passenger car carrying a father and his son fell into the sea at a dock in Yeosu, South Jeolla Province. Coast Guards rescued the boy trapped inside the car and successfully resuscitated him.
A passenger car backing into a dock plunges into the sea. The car is half submerged in water. Luckily, the 52-year-old driver is soon spotted outside the car, but he's not coming out of the water. He's seen trying to save his 16-year-old son, who's in the back seat.
차가 이미 빠져서 이제 잠겨가지고 트렁크 뒷부분 정도만 남아 있더라고요. 그 배 위에서 사람이 차에가 있다고 그렇게 말씀하셔요.
The Coast Guard was called to the scene and rescued the son, who was trapped 3 meters underwater. Suffering from a developmental disability, the boy was unconscious when he was pulled out of the water, but was resuscitated after CPR was administered.
이제 물속에 바로 입수를 해가지고 왼쪽 뒷좌석 차 그쪽에서 이제 들어갔을 때 자연스럽게 그 차문이 열려 있어서 그쪽에서 이제 확인을 하고 물 밖으로 구조할 수 있었습니다.
The driver, whose foot was in a cast, was trying to park his car at the dock to meet his mother arriving from an island by boat.
The tropical nights seem to be gone for now, but many people are now having a hard time because of cooler nighttime temperatures. Experts say the falling nighttime temperatures can undermine the quality of sleep and even the immune system.
With the scorching heat finally subsiding, the air now feels fresher and cooler in the morning. It's because nighttime temperatures are falling rapidly. Compared with early August, when tropical nights were in full swing, temperatures in Seoul recorded at 11 p.m. haven't changed significantly so far. But at 6 a.m., outside temperatures are now as low as 24 degrees Celsius. In other words, the nighttime temperature plunges nearly 3 times as much as it did in the middle of the summer. This test shows how the quality of sleep changes when the temperature falls by 3 degrees at night. Tossing and turning was found to be less severe when sleeping in pajamas and using a thin blanket compared to when sleeping in undergarments only. In cold conditions, brain waves and pupil movement were found to change more significantly. As a result, sleep efficiency declined by 9 percentage points, while the frequency of awakening was over 30% higher. Poor sleep and lower body temperature are known to undermine the secretion of immune system hormones. Therefore, people with weak immune systems, including the elderly, are advised to pay particular attention to staying warm at night when the seasons change.
About a fourth of fruit and vegetable produce is discarded every year in Korea just because it's not sold while at its freshest. A new technology has been developed to maintain fruit and vegetable freshness for longer using sound waves. Here's the story.
Hwang Byung-jun produces 400 tons of tomatoes each year. He has been farming tomatoes for 8 years now. However, he faces a perennial problem whenever harvesting his products. tomatoes easily become soft and runny just 10 days after harvest, losing their merchantable quality.
지금 여름 같은 경우는 과가 빨리 무르고 빨리 상하는 거죠. 상품 비율이 굉장히 저하된다고 봐야죠.
A new technology has been developed to extend the freshness of fruits by taking advantage of sound waves. A 6-hour exposure to 1 kilohertz sound waves extends the preservation period of green tomatoes from 10 days to 15 days. It's because exposure to sound waves decreases the generation of ethylene, which worsens freshness by 35%. The new technology is cheaper and easier than existing methods like freezing or chemical treatment. Once it is commercialized, the method is expected to reduce the number of discarded produce and help boost the nation's agricultural exports.
Korean movies Veteran and Assassination are heating up the summer film market. And this week, a unique fantasy romance film and a horror movie will open, joining the fray at the box office. This and more coming up in today's entertainment news.
나는 자고 일어나면 모습이 변한다.
Woo-jin wakes up every morning in a different body and appearance. He hides a secret from everyone. But one day he comes across a beautiful girl named Lee-soo and falls in love at first sight. He succeeds in asking her out on a day when he wakes up as a handsome man. In order to meet Lee-soo again, Woo-jin refuses to sleep a wink for 2 nights, but he cannot remain awake forever. Can he confess his secret and profess his love to Lee-soo? Will Lee-soo accept Woo-jin after learning about his secret?
이 영화는 그런 질문을 던지는 것 같아요. 그 사람이 어떤 모습이어도 넌 사랑할 수 있겠니?
Famous psychologist and exorcist Jin Myung encounters a powerful being residing inside a patient named Kumju. Based on a novel inspired by a terrifying folktale about Kamyeong Cave in Jeju, it faithfully adheres to the traits of the traditional horror genre.
Peaches and plums are known as the signature summer fruits of Korea, and in addition to tasting good, these fruits also contain nutrients that can help people overcome the heat. Here's more. This orchard in Eumseong County, North Chungcheong Province, began harvesting white peaches at the end of July. The orchard is having a rich harvest this year compared with previous years.
올해 가물었잖아요. 그런데 적절하게 비가 또 올해 가뭄 가운데서도 와줘가지고 당도도 좋고 또 이렇게 과도 이렇게 굵고.
The number of peach varieties grown in Korea has surpassed 100. Here's how to choose sweet and tasty peaches.
복숭아는 이렇게 굵고 깔이 잘 나야 맛있는 거예요. 굵다는 거는 복숭아 나무에 이제 꼭대기에 매달려 있기 때문에 빛을 많이 받다는 얘기거든요.
Experts say that peaches should be stored at room temperature and refrigerated only an hour before eating. If you keep them refrigerated for more than an hour, they can change in color and become less sweet. Removing the large seed inside a peach can be a hassle. Here's how to do it easily. Cut the peach into the shape of a cross, then slash the middle part at 360 degrees and twist the peach. This way you can easily remove the seed. Another signature summer fruit is the plum. Plums contain anthocyanin, which has an antioxidizing effect and helps prevent chronic diseases, while vitamins A and C help improve the complexion. Plums have all it takes to be called the best summer fruit. They help reduce body heat, supplement body fluids, and quench thirst. You may wonder which plums are sweeter, the yellowish Formosa plums or red plums.
홍자두는 붉은색을 띄우는 자두가 맛있지만은 이 포모사 같은 경우는 붉은색을 띄우는 것보다는 누리꾸리한 색을 띄우는 자두가 더 맛이 좋습니다.
Formosa plums, which are very common in Korea, are yellowish and red in color, have tender flesh, and taste sweet. Recently, dried western plums, known as prunes, are also drawing attention. They contain twice as many antioxidizing substances as raisins. Eating peaches and plums when they're in season will help you keep cool and healthy throughout the hottest time of the year.
Now we'll take a look at the markets, followed by the world weather. And that's it for this edition of News Today. Thanks for being with us, and we'll see you again at the same time tomorrow. Goodbye.